What if everything you've been taught about making a woman fall in love is wrong? I'm talking dead wrong. Like, catastrophically, embarrassingly, completely backwards wrong. You've been told it's about effort, compliments, gifts, charm. Show up with flowers, tell her she's beautiful, wine and dine her, be the perfect gentleman, right? That's what your dad told you. That's what the movies showed you. That's what society programmed into your brain since you were 12 years old. But here's the brutal truth nobody wants to tell you. Women don't fall for what you do. They fall for how you make them feel. And most of the time, they don't even realize it themselves. Think about it. How many times have you seen a woman choose the guy who treats her worse over the guy who worships the ground she walks on? How many times have you watched in confusion as she picks the man who seems to care less? You've seen it, we've all seen it, and it drives logical men absolutely insane because you're operating under a fundamental misunderstanding of how attraction actually works. Listen, I've spent years studying this, not just reading books or watching videos, but actually observing, testing, and understanding the deep psychological mechanisms that govern human attraction. And what I discovered will completely flip your understanding upside down. Attraction isn't logical. It's not a math equation where effort plus compliments equals love. It's not a transaction where you deposit nice gestures and withdraw affection. A woman's attachment is subconscious, it's emotional, and it builds slowly, like a fire that starts with the right kind of spark and grows into something that can't be extinguished. The secret? She doesn't connect with what you say or what you do. She connects with the energy you bring, the presence you embody, the feelings she gets when she's around you. And that energy, that presence, that feeling, it has nothing to do with how hard you try and everything to do with who you are when you're not trying at all. So if you're ready to learn how women actually fall in love, if you're ready to understand the real psychology behind attraction, if you're ready to stop playing by rules that don't work and start operating from a place of authentic power, then buckle up because what I'm about to share with you is going to change everything. Let's start with the foundation, the emotional bedrock that real connection is built on. When a woman withdraws, when she goes quiet, when she seems distant or moody or just off, what's your first instinct? Be honest. Your first instinct is to chase, to fix, to ask what's wrong, to try harder, to do more. And that's exactly when you lose her. Because in that moment, she's not looking for you to fix anything. She's observing your reaction. She's watching to see what kind of man you really are when the pressure is on, when things aren't perfect, when she's not giving you the validation you crave. The man who panics, who chases, who needs to know what's wrong right now. He fails the test before he even knows he's taking it. But the man who stays centered, the man who can breathe in that space of uncertainty without losing his mind, that man says more with his silence than 1,000 words ever could. Your stillness whispers something profound to her subconscious. You're safe here. Your moods don't control me. Your energy doesn't destabilize me. I am the calm in your storm. And that, gentleman, is attractive on a level that bypasses her logical mind entirely. I know what you're thinking, but shouldn't I care? Shouldn't I want to help? Of course you should care, but there's a massive difference between caring and panic, between wanting to support and needing to fix. When you can hold space for her emotions without being consumed by them, when you can be present without being reactive, when you can offer your strength without losing your center, that's when she starts to see you as something different, something rare, something she doesn't want to lose. Most men think emotional moments are problems to solve, tests to pass, crises to resolve. They rush in with solutions, with reassurances, with desperate attempts to make everything okay again. But here's what they don't understand. Emotional moments aren't tests to fix. They're storms to weather. She doesn't need you to stop the rain. She needs you to be the shelter she can run to when it's pouring. Think about the last time you were in a really difficult emotional state. What did you need? Did you need someone to lecture you about why you shouldn't feel that way? Did you need someone to bombard you with solutions you weren't ready to hear? Or did you need someone to just be there, to listen, to hold space for your experience without trying to change it? Women are no different.
When she's going through something, when she's processing emotions, when she's in that messy, complicated space that all humans find themselves in sometimes, she doesn't need your analysis. She needs your presence. The man who can sit in that discomfort without needing to escape it, without needing to fix it, without needing to make it about him, that man becomes her emotional anchor. That man becomes safe. And safety, real emotional safety, is the foundation of every deep connection. But here's where most men go wrong. They think being emotionally available means being emotionally reactive. They think showing they care means absorbing her emotional state and making it their own. That's not emotional availability, that's emotional chaos. Real emotional availability is being fully present without being destabilized. It's caring without panicking. It's offering support without losing yourself in her storm. When you master this, when you become the kind of man who can hold space for any emotion without being consumed by it, something magical happens. She starts to trust you with parts of herself she's never shared with anyone else. And that trust, that's where real love begins. Now, let's talk about boundaries. This is where I see men make some of their biggest mistakes. You've been told that love means giving everything, sacrifice, putting her needs before your own, being available whenever she needs you, however she needs you, for whatever she needs you for. That sounds romantic, doesn't it? It sounds noble. It sounds like what a good man should do. It's also the fastest way to kill attraction. When you have no boundaries, when you're available for anything at any time, when you consistently put her needs above your own well-being, you're not showing love. You're showing desperation. And desperation is the opposite of attractive. Here's what happens when you have no boundaries. You become predictable, safe in the worst possible way, taken for granted. She knows that no matter how she treats you, no matter what she asks of you, no matter how little she gives back, you'll always be there. And something that's always available has no value. But when you protect your energy, when you have standards for how you're treated, when you don't overextend yourself for validation, something different happens. She feels your self-worth. She senses that your attention, your time, your energy, these things have value because you value them. That restraint is powerful.
It communicates something deep. My peace isn't up for negotiation. My well-being matters. I choose to be here, but I don't need to be here. And that choice, that voluntary presence, rather than desperate clinging, makes all the difference. I'm not talking about being cold or distant or playing games. I'm talking about having enough respect for yourself that you don't lose yourself in the pursuit of someone else's approval. When you have boundaries, when you protect your energy, when you make choices based on what's right for you, rather than what might make her like you more, you become something rare in her world. A man who values himself. And a man who values himself is a man worth valuing. Most women are surrounded by men who would do anything for their attention. Men who say yes to everything. Men who have no backbone, no standards, no sense of their own worth. Men who are so desperate to be chosen that they've forgotten they have the right to choose too. You want to stand out? Don't be one of those men. Be the man who cares deeply but doesn't need desperately. Be the man who offers love but doesn't bargain for it. Be the man who chooses to be present but isn't afraid to walk away if he's not treated with respect. That's attractive. That's magnetic. That's the kind of energy that makes a woman think, I don't want to lose this one. Now, let's dive deeper into how real attraction actually grows. Because what I'm about to tell you might surprise you. You think she falls for your best self, your most polished, most impressive, most put-together version. The you that has all the right answers, never makes mistakes, and always knows what to do. That's not the you she falls in love with. She isn't drawn to men who worship her best self either. She's not looking for someone who puts her on a pedestal and treats her like she can do no wrong. She's not seeking someone who only loves the pretty, easy, socially acceptable parts of who she is. She attaches to the man who can welcome her mess, her doubts, her moods, her imperfections, her humanity, without judgment, without trying to fix it, without making her feel like she needs to be different to be worthy of love. When do you feel most connected to someone? Is it when they're impressed by your achievements, or when they accept your struggles? Is it when they praise your strengths, or when they don't run away from your weaknesses? Real connection happens in the vulnerable spaces. In the moments when the mask comes off and you're just human, flawed, complicated, messy, real human. The man who can be present for all of that, who can see a woman's full humanity and not flinch, who can hold space for her imperfections without needing to change them, that man becomes irreplaceable. Because here's the thing. Everyone wants to be loved for who they really are, not for who they pretend to be. But most people are so afraid of being seen fully that they never give anyone the chance to love them authentically. When you become the safe space where she can be completely herself, when you become the person she doesn't have to perform for, when you become the relationship where she can drop the act and just be, you become something incredibly rare in her life. You become home. And once a woman feels at home with you, when she trusts you with her real self, when she knows she can be imperfect in your presence without losing your love, that's when real attachment forms. Not to your looks, not to your money, not to what you can do for her, but to how she feels when she's with you, to the version of herself she gets to be in your presence, to the peace she finds in your acceptance. That's the kind of love that lasts. That's the kind of connection that grows stronger over time instead of fading. That's the kind of bond that can't be broken by the next guy who comes along with more money or better looks or smoother words. Because you're not competing on the surface level anymore. You're connected at the soul level, and that's irreplaceable. But here's where most men get confused about leadership and masculine energy. They think being masculine means being dominant, controlling, always having the final say, making decisions for her, taking charge in ways that override her autonomy. That's not masculine energy. That's insecurity disguised as strength. True masculine energy isn't about dominance. It's about presence. It's about knowing who you are and moving through the world with that quiet confidence. It's about having a direction and inviting her to join you on the journey, not dragging her along against her will. Real masculine energy is quiet. It's intentional. It's guidance without force. It's leadership through example, not command. When you embody this kind of energy, something beautiful happens. She doesn't feel controlled or manipulated or pressured.
She feels led, guided, like she's with someone who knows where he's going and has the strength to get there. That's attractive because it's rare. Most men either try to control everything, which feels suffocating, or they have no direction at all, which feels unstable. But the man who has his own path and invites her to walk it with him, that man offers something special. He offers partnership without possession, leadership without domination, strength without aggression. She relaxes not because you take control of her life, but because you have control of your own. She feels safe not because you make all her decisions, but because you make your decisions with confidence and clarity. When a woman is with a man who moves with purpose, who has direction, who knows what he wants and goes after it, she gets to relax into her feminine energy. She gets to be soft because he's solid. She gets to flow because he's grounded. And that dynamic, that dance between masculine and feminine energy, creates a kind of attraction that goes beyond the physical or even the emotional. It creates a spiritual connection, a sense of wholeness, a feeling of being exactly where you're supposed to be. But this only works when your leadership comes from love, not ego. When your direction comes from purpose, not control. When your strength is used to protect and provide, not to dominate and possess. The moment your masculine energy becomes about power over her instead of power with her, you lose the magic. You become just another man trying to control her instead of the man she chooses to follow. Here's something that might blow your mind. Real intimacy doesn't come from deep conversations. It doesn't come from sharing your feelings or asking about hers. It doesn't come from pushing for emotional connection or trying to force vulnerable moments. Real intimacy comes from patience, from being the kind of man who can be fully present without needing anything in return, from listening without needing to be listened to, from being interested in her world without making everything about yours. Most men approach intimacy like it's a negotiation. I'll share something deep, so you should share something deep. I opened up to you, so now you owe me the same. I want to connect, so we need to have a meaningful conversation right now. That's not intimacy, that's transaction. Real intimacy is giving her the space to unfold naturally. It's being curious about who she is without trying to change her. It's caring about her inner world without needing to fix or improve it. When you can sit with someone without needing them to be different, when you can listen to them without needing to respond, when you can be interested in their experience without making it about yours, that's when real connection happens. And here's the beautiful thing. When you stop pushing for intimacy, when you stop trying to force deep connection, when you simply show up as a man who's genuinely interested in who she is, intimacy starts to happen naturally. She begins to share more because you're not demanding it. She opens up because you've created space for it. She becomes vulnerable because you've proven you can handle her vulnerability without becoming weird about it. The man who can receive a woman's stories, her thoughts, her dreams, her fears, without needing to fix them or judge them or make them about him, that man becomes trusted. And trust is the gateway to everything deeper. But this requires something most men struggle with: being comfortable with yourself, being okay with silence, being content with your own company so you don't need her constant validation or attention to feel whole. When you're genuinely interested in her for who she is, not for what she can do for your ego, she feels it. When you can be present with her without needing her to fill some void in your life, she senses it. When you can listen to her world without immediately trying to relate it to yours, she appreciates it. And that appreciation grows into something much deeper over time. Now let's talk about the biggest mistake men make when trying to attract women. Trying too hard. You think attraction is about addition, adding more effort, more compliments, more attention, more everything. You think the formula is more input equals more attraction. But here's the counterintuitive truth. The less you need her, the more she's pulled toward your world. This isn't about playing games or being manipulative. This isn't about pretending not to care when you do. This is about building a life that's so fulfilling, so purposeful, so engaging that you genuinely don't need anyone else to complete it. When you have that kind of life, when you're genuinely excited about your own path, when you have passions and goals and interests that light you up from the inside, something magnetic happens. You become someone worth joining, rather than someone who needs joining. She doesn't want to be your whole world. She wants to be part of a world that's already amazing.